Hi, and welcome to this series of videos on how to meditate. In this, the first video, I'll be talking about what is the meaning of the word meditation. First of all, the word meditation can mean many different things to different people. For some people, meditation means simply a calming of the mind, and creating of a pleasurable or a peaceful state of being for some time, as sort of like a vacation or an escape from the reality around us. For other people, meditation can mean a extraordinary or a special experience of some alternate state of reality, perhaps creating magical states of or super mundane states of awareness. In this video, I'd like to take the word meditation, first of all, back to its root and explain it based on the meaning of the word meditation. When we look at the word meditation, we can see that it comes from a root very similar to the word medication. And so whereas medication means something which is used to cure the sicknesses which exist in the body, we then can understand meditation as something which is used to cure the sicknesses which exist in the mind. So as opposed to, when we look at medication, we can see that as opposed to a drug, it's not something that simply creates a state of pleasure or a state of happiness for some time. It's something which is actually used to create, to effect a change in the body, a state of greater bodily health, bring the body back to a state, its natural state of health. So in this way, meditation, we can understand it as something which not simply brings about a state of peace or calm temporarily. It's something which returns the mind, which may, for many of us, be in a unnatural state of being, based on its worries or stresses or conditioning, any kinds of conditioning from the world, the experience of the world around. Instead, we can see that meditation is something which actually affects a change and brings the mind back to its natural state of peace and happiness. So in these videos, it's important to understand that sometimes during the meditation it may not feel peaceful and calm. Sometimes the meditation is dealing with the very deep and unpleasant states which exist in our minds. States of stress, states of worry, states of anger, states of addiction, and so on. And so sometimes it might seem that this sort of meditation is not as peaceful as we might have wished for it. But we have to understand that this isn't simply a drug. This isn't simply a way to feel pleasure for a short time. It's something which is meant to effect a real change on our minds and on our hearts, to bring our minds and our hearts back to their natural state of clarity and their natural states of peace and happiness. So the next question is, how is it that we come to effect this change or this healing, this remedy for the states of anger or greed, of addiction, of delusion, of conceit and arrogance, of worry, of stress, of fear, and so on? How is it that we come to cure these things? And the practice here in this set of videos, the basis of the practice of meditation, as I'll be explaining it, is what we call a clear thought. We're creating a clear awareness of the experience as it happens in every moment. And the way we do this is we use an ancient technique which is called a mantra. We're using the ancient practice of mantra meditation, but instead of focusing it on some sort of mantra, a word, which is super mundane or out of the ordinary, we're going to be focusing our attention on the ordinary, on the reality around us as we experience it. But we'll be using a mantra, this word, this name, this label, for the experience, which brings the mind into focus and to clearly experience that phenomenon as it arises. To know it clearly, to see it for what it is, and to not be addicted, attached, or upset, or averse to that experience. To simply know it and to experience it for what it is. So for instance, when we feel something in the body, or when we move our body, or when we think of something in the mind, or so on, we're going to create a clear thought, for instance, thinking. If we get angry, we're going to say to ourselves, angry. If we feel pain, we're going to say to ourselves, pain. We're going to pick a word which describes the experience accurately, and which therefore fixes the mind on the experience for what it is, not becoming upset or attached to the experience. And to do this, traditionally we'll break experience or break reality up into 4 parts. And so we can label reality in one of these 4 parts. Whatever we experience will be somewhere within these 4 parts. And on a basic level, these 4 parts are called body, the movements or the positions of the body; feelings, the sensations which exist in the body and in the mind when we feel pain or happiness or calm; the mind, this is the thoughts which exist in the mind, when we're thinking about the past or the future, good thoughts, bad thoughts, whatever kind of thoughts we have. And number 4, the mental states, the states of mind, whether they be emotional states or whether they be states of clarity or states of drowsiness or states of worry, states of doubt, or so on and so on. These 4, the body, the feelings, the thoughts, and the mental states, are the 4 foundations of the meditation practice. And this is what we're going to use to create a clear thought in the present moment. So for instance, every moment when we move our body, suppose we lift our hand, when we raise our hand, during the time we're meditating, we can say to ourselves, raising. When we're sitting still, we can say to ourselves, sitting. Or whatever position the body is in, we can be simply aware of the position of the body. It's one part of reality that we can use to create a clear thought. The second is the feelings that exist in the body and in the mind. When we feel pain in the body, we can say to ourselves, pain. We can repeat again and again to ourselves. We can say, pain, pain, pain. Instead of allowing the anger or the upset to arise because of the pain, we simply remind ourselves that it's merely a sensation which has arisen in the body. If we feel happy, we can say the same thing, happy, 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 not pushing it away, but also not attaching to it, giving it more significance than it actually has, and therefore not creating a state of addiction, a state of attachment, a state of need. When we feel calm, also we can say calm, 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 and so on. When we're thinking, number 3 is the thoughts. So when we're thinking about the past, good thoughts from the past, bad thoughts from the past, we can say to ourselves, thinking, thinking, instead of letting them become something good or something bad, something to create attachment or something to create aversion. We simply know that they are thinking. They are thoughts which have arisen. When we're thinking about the future, when we're thinking about anything, we can simply come to be aware of the fact that we're thinking, instead of liking or disliking or becoming attached to the thoughts, allowing fear and worry and stress and so on to arise. And the emotional states or the mental states, when we feel angry. So once anger has arisen, instead of letting it build and snowball and become hatred or become an action where we attack, or a speech where we shout, where we yell, where we argue, we simply know that we're angry and we stop it there and we don't allow it to go further. When we feel greed, when we want something very bad, instead of taking or trying to trick someone into so that we can get the better of them, stealing or tricking or creating trouble for someone else so that we can get what we want. We see that we want something and we simply acknowledge it for what it is. And therefore we don't need to do bad deeds to get the things that we want. We say to ourselves, wanting, wanting. When we feel lazy or so on and we don't want to do the things which we know we should be doing, we can say to ourselves, lazy, lazy. When we're distracted or worried or stressed, we can say distracted or worried or stressed. When we feel doubt, we don't know if we can do what we need to do, or we're not sure what to do, or we're confused, we can say to ourselves, doubting, doubting, or confused, confused. So this is the basis of the meditation practice as I'm going to explain it in these videos. And this is the introduction on how to meditate.